Ukraine is facing its fourth winter of war. Since the start of the full-scale invasion, our energy infrastructure has sustained over 65,000 documented attacks. Millions of Ukrainians endured life without power and heat. In the fall of 2025, Russia launched massive missile and drone strikes on Ukraine's energy and gas infrastructure, beginning a systematic campaign to destroy the country's energy sector ahead of winter. The Russians continue their double terror tactic, striking the same targets again, aiming not only at infrastructure but also at energy workers and rescuers. In 2025 alone, more than 4,000 new attacks have been recorded. 10 times the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant has been plunged into a total blackout by the aggressor's actions. Yet, despite the relentless shelling, repair, restoration, and the development of distributed capacities continue unabated day and night. We have endured the darkest of winters, and we will prevail once more, for the light in our homes symbolizes our indomitability.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Energy Conference at the ReBuild Ukraine. I'm Alexandra Gumenyuk, and I have a long-term period of supporting Ukraine with energy reforms, supporting renewable energy sector, attracting investments in Ukraine from different countries as well from Denmark. And today, we gather not only as professionals of the energy sector, we gather as people who carry responsibility for the future of our country. In Ukraine, energy has never been just an industry. Today, energy is security. Energy is resilience. Energy is our shield. Every day, thousands of engineers, dispatchers, technicians, constructors, rescue teams, and system operators work under extraordinary pressure. They restore what was destroyed and protect what keeps us alive and ensure that Ukraine stays powered literally and symbolically. Their courage stands next to the courage of our defenders, and they deserve our deepest respect. We also meet here with clear understanding: Ukraine cannot wait. Our enemy doesn't sleep. While we fight for survival, we must also build for our victory, for our future. And that means investing now, developing now, making decisions now. Despite the war, projects are being built, investments are flowing, and international business stands with Ukraine. Our energy sector continues to grow even in the most difficult conditions, providing again that Ukraine is not only fighting and proving that Ukraine is moving forward. Today's conference is about exactly that: rebuilding, innovating, and strengthening. It is about partnership between government, business, communities, and international allies. It is about making sure that every investment, every technology, every idea contributes to a stronger, safer, greener Ukraine. Let this event be a reminder: Ukraine is defending itself and Europe. And Ukraine will rebuild better than before. Glory to all Ukrainians who work in the energy sector. Glory to all our defenders. And glory to Ukraine. And now I would like to invite Ms. Olena Kononenko, Project Leader ReBuild Ukraine.
Thank you very much. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear guests and partners, on behalf of the general organizer of ReBuild Ukraine, the Ukrainian company Premier Expo, I am highly privileged to welcome you all here at this conference, which will be dedicated to the sustainable recovery and investment opportunities for Ukraine's energy sector. Since the first edition of ReBuild Ukraine in 2023, this flagship conference brings together high-level policymakers, international business and partners, investors, and the Ukrainian industry leaders to shape the strategic vision of the rebuilding Ukraine's energy sector. This two-day conference will focus on policy framework, investment opportunities, technological modernization, and the development of human capital to ensure a resilient, secure, and sustainable energy system. In the wake of unprecedented destruction of critical energy infrastructure, ReBuild Ukraine serves as a platform to mobilize, support, share best practices, and present concrete projects for Ukraine's energy transition. Through focused discussions and expert-led panels, the conference will explore how international cooperation, innovative technologies, and private sector engagement can accelerate the country's green and digital energy recovery. Energizing Recovery Conference will also address other multiple issues, including de-risking investment projects, successful cases in equipment manufacturing in Ukraine, the role of European Union market, converting existing manufacturing facilities for energy sectors needs, and others. We can all hear this business buzz in this hall and in other halls, and this is about business. Almost 800 manufacturers from all over the world gathered here for networking and agreements for future cooperation. And future is already today. It's in every shake hand, in every communication which is now happening at stands. And we all believe in time when all this big event will be organized in Ukraine when the war is over, and we will be thrilled to welcome you all in Kiev Exhibition Center. So far, we deeply appreciate this opportunity to be in Warsaw, and my words of thankfulness go to our partners, the Ministry of Energy of Ukraine, the RST Energy team, the European Commission. My words of gratitude to each speaker and each moderator and many other dear partners for their hard work and support in organizing this flagship energy conference. So let me close for now and wish you a very successful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olena. And right now, I would like to invite Ms. Svetlana Andrushchenko, Director of Recovery and Reform Support Team, Ministry of Energy of Ukraine, who will moderate the first high-level panel, and Svetlana will announce all the speakers. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. Distinguished guests, colleagues, partners, friends, thank you very much for being here. My great appreciation. All panels today starting with great appreciation to Ukraine, to defenders, to partners, to support, to solidarity. It's great that we pronounce these words loudly and with very sensitive and a lot of sense and content in all these words. So this panel discussion on Ukraine's energy transformation, the strategic political vision of Ukraine's energy transformation, will initiate the two-day intensive discussion and communication between business, governance, between governments and government representatives, between different international and Ukrainian businesses, between local communities. We're all focusing on opportunities, emergency measures and opportunities. We're speaking about transformation. I would like to highlight and underline that this transformation, Ukraine's energy sector transformation, comprehensive and overwhelming. We're speaking about governance, management, cooperation on emergency activities and measures, on recovery, on reforming, multiple legislative, regulatory frameworks developing, in aligning with European Union standards, about human security and about human capital development. So during this panel, we initiate and further there will be intensive communication on how we are going to build the energy sector of Ukraine together and with this shared vision of European energy future. How to provide emergency assistance, emergency repairs while building new energy sector of Ukraine, resilient energy sector of Ukraine and Europe and worldwide, together with our partners during war, accelerating green, sustainable, transition. So just let me just invite our honorable speakers with their insights, and the first words and the first panelist is the representative of the Ministry of Energy of Ukraine, the Deputy Minister of Ukraine, Mr. Roman Andarak. You're welcome. Mechthild Würzdorfer, Deputy General, Director General for Energy, European Commission. You're welcome. Vegard Grosli Vennesland, State Secretary, Norwegian Ministry of Trade, Industry and Fisheries. You're welcome. Mr. Harris, Theo Harris, Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs for Greece. You're welcome. Gabriel Gorbachevsky, Vice Minister of Energy, Lithuania. Arthur Lorkovsky, Energy Community Director, Energy Community Secretariat. Arthur is here. And William Thompson, DFC, the speaker. We are waiting for him to join our team of honorable speakers. And let's push horses and let's start. Dear colleagues, and the first word will be to Roman Andarak, Deputy Minister of Energy of Ukraine, with the presentation of top priorities and strategic vision of the ministry for the end of 2025 and beyond. Mr. Andarak, you're welcome.
Okay, watch out. Thank you very much, dear Svetlana. I think after your words, it's kind of difficult to add anything. As you all know, the attacks on the energy sector continue, and the 2024-2025 season was thought as the hardest, but then we are facing into another one. And as of today, Russia fired from August to November, Russia have fired over 670 missiles and 16,000 Shahed drones against energy infrastructure. In terms of hits, you see that from August, that in October the figure has quadrupled. So this clearly shows the intensity of attacks that we have no reason to believe will slow down. Electricity generation, key transmission lines, all sorts of infrastructure are target. And as of now, we have lost access to 6.8 gigawatts of electricity generation, 40% of domestic gas production, and UKRAINIAN is suffering from 50% of their transmission substations damages. Of course, we don't stop, we don't give up, we repair, and we do it in a vicious circle. So Kievska substation, very critical, was repaired 5 times. Centrenergo, one of the biggest generation companies in Ukraine, thermal generation companies, has repaired 5 times Minsk thermal power plant and 3 times Tripilska power plant from just outrageous, very devastating attacks. And of course, lately we see increased attacks on railways, which are important both of economy functioning and because of their role in ensuring energy supply and transportation of goods and vehicles. Around 6 million consumers, 40% of population, suffer from power outage from 6 to 18 hours every day. In my introductory speech, I already mentioned that this equals to countries like Denmark, Slovakia, Bulgaria, Finland. And the situation is especially fragile in frontline regions such as Sumy, Kharkiv, Kherson, Chernihiv, sometimes reaching more inland regions like Poltava. So our response to this is never ending. It's fourth winter of war, so the solutions need to be upgraded and modernized, but the principle stays the same. First, and the most important principle that we must use is to press Russia and to press aggressor to refrain from attacks on the civilian infrastructure. We must use every diplomatic effort, every tool, every sanction we can to stop Russian aggressor from continuing the aggression. Second is, of course, strengthening the air defense, especially for most critical infrastructure, including energy. We need to include financial pressure on Russia through sanctions. And finally, the war is continuing, the damage is still taking place, so we will definitely need additional support to repair, to recover, and to restore, to build the system more resilient. And of course, and unfortunately, behind every megawatt, behind every successful stories in this regard, there are human stories. On the evening of the 10th of October, Russia, they understand the core of our resilience. The core of our resilience is people, energy workers, skilled energy workers that were not trained to be military people, that continue doing their work under target, under attacks, under shellings. And here, just an example that on the evening of 10th October in Chernihiv, Rivne, a repair crew was targeted by a Lancet drone. After the first attack, the team was rushing to help the wounded colleague, and another strike on the repair team took place, and the guy died. Anatoly Savchenko died on the spot. And Ruslan Deniha, 1978, died to his injuries in a hospital despite all doctors' work. So overall, 300 energy workers were injured, and unfortunately 57 killed in the line of duty. So they are another side of this war, silent defenders of our energy front. To close, energy front, energy resilience is still the front line of energy security, including European energy security. And we are not restoring what Russia destroys, but we are building more modernized, decentralized, resilient, and EU-integrated energy system. We develop but we adopt European rules, transparent rules that you understand, that you know how to work. I'm very grateful to Mehdi and to your team for supporting us. Also, Arthur does a great job in processing all our information. So very grateful for also this part of assistance, because and we see that the amount of companies present in this conference grows from year to year, and in some cases we have multiples several times, shows that we are on the right path and that you believe in our victory and you believe in what we are doing. So thank you very much for that, and interesting discussions to all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Minister. for all the priorities and focuses you just initiate the discussion. And next word to the representative of the European Commission, Mrs. Merthild Versdorfer, Deputy Director General of for Energy for European Commission. We are grateful for all announcements and support we've heard still continue and this morning. So my word to you, dear Merthild, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, dear Excellencies, distinguished colleagues here on the panel, dear ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be here today at the ReBuild Ukraine conference, and also many thanks to Poland for hosting us here in Warsaw for these 2 days, a mix of policy dialogues like now, which we are happily co-organized with the Ministry of Ukraine, but also a big thanks to all the exhibitions and exhibitors, because I think this is what is needed to have the business present and make the deals which are needed in that situation. Let me thank Roman, the Vice Minister, for his presentation, which shows how hard the situation is right now in Ukraine, of course more in the Eastern Front, but also in Kiev, in the capital, and all over the countries with the power outages for 8 to 16 hours. I think all of us not living in Ukraine can hardly imagine how hard and painful it is to live without electricity or without gas or heating in that circumstances. So the attacks are really going on. They have now in the 4th winter of this war since the invasion of Russia and Ukraine has been even harder than before, and we from the European Union, with all our member states, are doing our utmost to support Ukraine and the people of Ukraine for the winter. I would also say the extraordinary resilience of the people working on the ground, but also working in the ministries, and also all the stakeholders are really very strong in overcoming whatever challenges are there, and also to secure energy security. So we are, as European Union, stand firmly by Ukraine. We are supporting Ukraine's fight, the fight for freedom, for stability, against corruption, and for a sustainable, secure energy future. So in that sense, I will highlight that we are now discussing at the EU level the RePower EU, phasing out Russian gas by 2027. This is, as we speak, in discussion with the members of the European Parliament and the members of the Energy Council. So hopefully by the end of this year, there is a decision by the whole European Union to phase out Russian gas by 2027 and diversify away from Russian gas, and also accelerate the clean energy transition together. This is in line with the 19th sanction package, which is also targeting LNG imports from Russia as forbidden from 1st of January onwards. Both elements are complementary to really get rid of the Russian fossil fuel imports. In addition to that, we have mobilized unprecedented assistance in energy equipment with more than 9,000 generators and nearly 7,000 transformers. We have what we call the EU Civil Protection Mechanism, which helps to channel all this needed equipment, old or new, to help replace it. Since the invasion of Russia in Ukraine, only a few weeks later, the system, the electricity network of Ukraine, was synchronized with the European continental electricity system. So we have one electricity system all over Europe, and including Ukraine and Moldova. We have a cap of helping with exports to Ukraine, and I would also like to thank the neighboring countries of Ukraine delivering electricity now to Ukraine up to 2.1 gigawatt, which is the gap. We have organized, together with our Canadian G7 presidency, what we call the G7 Plus Energy Support Group, which we are co-chairing, and there's a meeting later today, where we really discuss explicit needs and coordinate with the G7 Plus members what can we do, of course, in presence also with the EIB, the European Investment Bank, and the EBRD. What is important for the resilience, Roman mentioned it, it's also air defense. We need to prioritize air defense, plan it for critical energy infrastructure, as we assume, unfortunately, attacks will continue. So air defense is something we are working together inside the Commission and with the Ukrainian government. Looking ahead, we also know where the way is going. We need more energy efficiency, renewables, decentralized power system, which can make the network not only cleaner as we rebuild, but also more resistant to external attacks. In that, we are in coordination with international financial and technical support for investments. Apart from renewables, we had a discussion also on biomethane, where there's a big potential in Ukraine. This morning, it was mentioned that geothermal can be an option, of course, in Ukraine. So there are many options to go this cleaner energy transition in the future. One key aspect, because Ukraine is a candidate country, and the European Union came out a week ago with the assessment of all the candidate countries on where they are. Ukraine is among the big front runners, and also in energy, a lot has been achieved in the last 10-15 years to align EU legislation with the Ukrainian legislation. There's one key priority which we hope to get adopted in the Ukrainian parliament before the end of this year, which what we call electricity integration package. It's really to make the first legal step which is needed to align and allow for market coupling by 27. The first step is now in the Ukrainian Rada. We are helping together with the Energy Community Secretariat. But for us, that is a win-win. Once we have markets coupled, electricity trading and the markets can work even better together, which can be good for the EU side, but also good for Ukraine and Moldova. One of our big priorities right now is to work on affordable energy, also in Southeast Europe, in the EU in total, but also in Ukraine and Moldova. And the more we are integrated, our markets, electricity, but also gas, the better it is to bring down system costs and go for more affordable prices. Just to finish, I think we know that we have to rebuild Ukraine's energy sector. There is an opportunity to do it in a cleaner, greener way, also secure, affordable, competitive industries in Ukraine. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Deputy Director General. And we'll continue. Dear guests, you may just take your chairs for the convenience. And my next word to Mr. State Secretary, Mr. Vinnesland. Norway is a strong partner of Ukraine and in Ukraine's recovery. Which components of Ukraine recovery you view as the most important currently? And maybe you see the new cooperation opportunities in rebuilding Ukraine's energy sector. You're welcome.
So thank you very much, and also for the interventions so far. It's great to be here. I've been speaking so much to Norwegian and Ukrainian businesses that I have lost my voice, so please excuse me for that. But I think a key answer to your question is that Ukraine has to be a key player in defining what is important for them. In the Norwegian assistance to Ukraine now, the so-called Nansen program, that is a key component. That there's flexibility in the program, which enables us to help Ukraine where they have needs as they arise. So recently now, for example, a contribution to the Ukrainian investment framework through the EU, making it possible for Ukraine to buy gas, which they now very much need. So we do that through the large international organizations, through the EBRD, through the EU. So I think that is one of the kind of core aspects of the way we are thinking of our program. And I think also, I mean, you mentioned it, Andrak, and donations on the military field as well, protecting the energy installations that you actually have, is also a core part of energy security. We are the largest part of our assistance to Ukraine now is in the military donation field, and I think that is definitely the I mean, it has to be there to begin with, or else it will be impossible for the energy sector to thrive in Ukraine. Of course, Norway is an energy nation. We have a lot of companies that have great competence and skill, and also to some extent equipment that can be donated. We have expertise that can be lended out, and the cooperation between the Norwegian energy companies and Norwegian energy authorities and the Ukrainian has been key in establishing that, and to kind of find where the challenges are and see how we can contribute. So I think those would be my main points.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your intervention and lessons learned and your vision. And next word to the Deputy Minister of Energy of Greece and Mr. Haris Theoharis. Greece have intensified its cooperation on just alternative ways of gas supply to Ukraine, which is dramatically and vitally important this winter. And truly, could you share just your approaches, your vision, and maybe you can share your further activities on supporting Ukraine during intensifying attacks against Ukrainian energy infrastructure? You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation. Just a slight correction. I'm Deputy Foreign Minister of Greece, so looking at the whole relationship and how we can support Ukraine, of course in the energy sector, but wider as well. Greece has taken a very, very principled and very pragmatic stance in supporting Ukraine from day one. This is important as a matter of principle, but it's important as well for the future of Europe. And we believe that our cooperation in the field, especially within the European fora, in ensuring that Ukraine has adequate support to withstand this, is very, very important, number one. Number two, this stance, which is not politically an easy stance, even in the internal discussion, has allowed and helped the Greek population to also share the burden, because Ukraine has moved from an energy exporter to an energy importer, and of course this has led to an increase in prices and stuff, and has affected the Greek population. And it's important to keep a climate where people understand and why, you know, we're sharing this burden and why we have to do what we have to do in order to support Ukraine. The third is, of course, that from day one, and if you like, I'm trying to talk about the indirect effects and how important they are to talk about the direct support as well. We were on day one supporters of the whole region in terms, for example, of LNG imports. So Bulgaria had a very, very difficult and very insecure winter in 22-23, and without the LNG that was imported through Greece to Bulgaria, they wouldn't, feel secure supplying their energy needs. And as a result, I think their stance would possibly be very, very different if they were not secure. So we feel that Greece also plays a wider role in securing this environment that allows all the countries in the region to support Ukraine. So Greece has made this transition now. Last year we imported 17 BCM of LNG. We only used 6 of that. 11 BCM was for the wider region. And finally, we had last week a very successful and important PTEC conference, the Transatlantic Alliance, securing US support for Ukraine's refueling and LNG. And we feel that we need to do a lot more to coordinate all the countries in the region, and especially the North Corridor, Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, and ultimately Ukraine, is going to be a very strategic corridor in the supply of imports and exports, both on the energy and on the goods side of things for Ukraine. We have to do much more to coordinate our responses. Greece will be very creative, both for the transport of goods through combined transport, road and railways, and as well through the energy connectivity that is required in order to ensure that Ukraine manages to withstand this unprecedented. Roman showed the modalities of these attacks that are currently happening and the very fast shift towards the energy infrastructure. We saw that the total number of attacks of Russia was actually decreasing in October, but the attacks on the energy infrastructure quadrupled vis-a-vis September. So this shows a huge shift of the targets towards the energy, and we need to stand by, and Greek companies that join me here in this wonderful conference stand ready to support Ukraine in its needs.
Thank you very much, Mr. Theoharis. And you really focused on the just intensifying ethics, which is energy sector and all energy sectors under ethics currently, which is also the shifting dynamics of ethics of Russia against Ukraine energy sector. And Mr. Gorbachevsky, thank you very much, because Lithuania is really a substantial supporter and provider of the humanitarian technical assistance to Ukraine. Maybe you could articulate what is going to be the next areas of support of Ukraine's energy sector, just grid, so transmission system operation and infrastructure. You're welcome.
Thank you for our invitation. So, firstly, Russia's ongoing aggression war against Ukraine and constant attacks on critical energy infrastructure needs requests swift reaction and strong commitment from us. I would underline two pillars in terms of this question: the restoration and the energy supplies. So, in terms of restoration, Lithuania has been one of the biggest donors of energy supply aid to Ukraine. We provided more than 100 million euro worth of energy equipment to Ukraine, and the best examples are the relocation of Vilnius thermal power plant to Tripilia. More than 1,500 of tons of equipment were relocated. It was probably more than like 140 cargos, and the biggest one, 172 tons equipments, were like quite a big challenge, even not for Lithuania, but also for our European Commission. Thank you for your coordination, and Polish authorities to smoothly move it to Ukraine. And the recent best examples are the donoring of auto transformers by our TSO Litgrid, and as I correctly recall, next week or in next 2 weeks, 2 transformers by our DSO, distribution system operator, ESO, will be provided to Ukraine. So the next step, in my opinion, will be, as my Greek colleague said, importance of LNG supplies to Ukraine, because as Deputy Minister of Ukraine said before, about 40% of gas production units in Ukraine are destroyed. So we have in Lithuania a success story of Klaipėda LNG terminal. It's a history-proven way to provide shipments to Ukraine. in last months, 2 shipments, 2 cargoes from USA through our Klaipėda LNG terminal and via Poland, Lithuania were shipped to Ukraine. And next Monday we have our next cargo of LNG to Ukraine. And we, as Lithuania, are prepared this winter to allocate a few more cargoes to Ukraine. So we invite Ukrainian companies and Ukrainian authorities to also explore Lithuania's LNG terminal and way to supply gas. And this supports, these efforts, I believe, will secure Ukraine's gas supply for this winter. Together with all EU countries, all together we can do it, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. Gorbachevsky. And surely that you can see just all speakers highlighting their inputs and providing opportunities for business and B2B business cooperation. That's great to sound. This is the difference from the previous years of ReBuild. We are growing in our focuses as well. And Mr. Larkovsky, the question to you, surely European, just the energy community is the key supporter of Ukraine in emergency repair, recovery and reforming. Could you share with us here the lessons learned and maybe you see any challenges and comments and just your recommendation how we could develop and enhance this cooperation? Thank you.
Thank you very much, first of all, for having me today. And you are very right saying that the strategy for Ukraine is very simple and it consists of 2 priorities. The first one is to survive until next year. And the second one is to integrate with the EU market. So they are the 2 priorities on which the Energy Committee Secretariat is focusing to provide practical solutions, very practical solutions for Ukraine. When it comes to the support towards surviving until spring, the Ukraine Energy Support Fund is playing a fundamental role by channeling the support from the donors. And I want to express my gratitude to all of the more than 30 donors for the trust and for the reliance they have expressed by donating the funds through the tool which has been established by the Secretariat. Until today, we have accumulated more than 1.5 billion euro. 770 million has been already contracted, and we are expecting to contract another more than 700 million very soon. And that is the reason why I want to invite all of the businesses, all of the potential suppliers, those who want to participate in the procurement procedures, which are very much transparent. They are following the very strict rules tomorrow to participate in the workshop. This workshop will create the opportunity to learn how to become the bidder and how to become supplier of the equipment to Ukraine. The second part, of course, is the issue of how to integrate Ukraine even before the day of accession, as it was explained by Mechtild, with the European Union energy markets. And electricity is priority. And as Mechtild already elaborated, immediately after the war started, the electricity system of Ukraine and the European Union was synchronized, providing the technical, let's say, hardware integration. What we are working now is the market coupling, which is providing software integration to optimize the trade, to lower the cost of operation, and to lower eventually the price of electricity, both in the European Union and in Ukraine. The second, of course, is the gas sector. Gas sector which would require reforms, which would require demonopolization, it would require reform of pricing. And this is also a prerequisite for making Ukraine an attractive market for the LNG to be delivered to Ukraine. And the third priority, of course, is renewable sector. We know what to do. We have pre-agreed with the Ukrainian authorities the roadmap for the reform of the renewables, and this roadmap is awaiting the proper implementation so that the support schemes to be offered to the investors in renewables can be fully utilized. For having those reforms, we need strong institutions and strong institutional framework following the best practices when it comes to the governance. In this regard, we are very much happy that we have achieved progress so far when it comes to improving the governance of the transmission system operators. However, some progress is still to be expected when it comes to the governance of the gas TSO. This is something which is still ahead of us. And also, this system cannot work without the independent regulator. And this is also work which is expected to be delivered by Ukraine. And we expect that the watchdog, the referee on the market, will be effectively doing the job fully in line with the European Union legislation. So two priorities: immediate support for reconstruction and for the repayment of that what has been damaged, and integration with the EU by implementing the European Union legislation in accelerated way ahead of accession in Ukraine is something the Secretariat can deliver practical solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Lakrovsky. And surely we have a lot of work to do, homework to do, and we are ready to work intensively over that. And we have also, dear colleagues, video intervention from the Deputy Resident Representative of United Nations Development Programme as the great supplier of support to local regions and energy local and national different energy sectors. And the video intervention is going to be provided on your screens.
Distinguished guests, excellencies, colleagues, and partners. Today, Ukraine faces its most challenging heating season since the war began. Rolling blackouts and relentless attacks have placed unprecedented strain on the national energy system. UNDP stands with the government of Ukraine and our international partners to strengthen energy security and protect the critical infrastructure that keeps hospitals running, water flowing, and homes heated. We have mobilized over 500 megawatts of capacity now being deployed across the country. Gas-fired pistons, turbines, and generators are reaching major cities, Kyiv, Dnipro, and Kharkiv, among others, benefiting over 5.7 million people. We're strengthening the national grid with high-voltage equipment and new auto-transformers. And we're also investing in Ukraine's renewable future. 5.5 megawatt of solar system across 6 regions, plus 8 megawatt of solar projects in 60 communities, representing 5 million in investment toward a decentralized, resilient, and energy supply. The road ahead is challenging and remains challenging. But with continued solidarity, Ukraine will not only survive this winter, it will bring a stronger, cleaner energy future. Today's policy discussion is essential. We must align emergency responses with Ukraine's green transition, ensuring every kilowatt restored today contribute to tomorrow's sustainable systems. On behalf of UNDP, I thank our partners. Your support sustains hope, protects lives, and lays the foundation for Ukraine's energy independence. Let us continue this vital work together. Thank you.
Thank you. And surely it's not just closing remarks, but maybe, dear speakers, I'll provide a couple of moments for finalizing and just recommendations that you have to add something. And Mr. Deputy Minister, the first floor is for you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Svetlana. I would stay silent for a few seconds so you can hear the room. And this is the sound of success, sound of partnerships, sound of new contexts, new ideas being negotiated and agreed upon. And this is actually what we came here for. So please use this opportunity to the maximum.
Thank you, Roman. Really, we're very proud, and it's great that there are a lot of people standing around and looking for opportunities, working over opportunities, supporting now in very difficult times, surely. And my maybe very short questions closing to every participant of this panel. How do you think such events, what are the main role of such events for building, recovering, and standing for Ukraine? What is the input of such events and communication for these developments? And this sound that Roman just attended with.
I think I answered this question, so I pass it directly to Mehter.
No, I truly believe that whatever we can do with public money, and I thank also Norway, Lithuania, Greece, and all the EU member states who are giving public money to support or in-kind donations, is hugely important. We also can give the framework for the future enlargement and so on. But what's happening here, I think the added value of bringing business from all over the world, as far as I can see it, is of course an added value or a needed investment in Ukraine. And whatever we can do to help, to give predictability, to give the framework, the regulatory framework, and so on, we can do. But the business-to-business contacts is probably the best added value for that. I was in the Ukraine Recovery Conference in Rome in June and last year in Berlin. I haven't seen the evaluation of the output, if there is one on deals making or not. That has to be done, of course. But I strongly believe in these business to business. And as Roman was saying, the noises we hear and the exhibitions we see, and I was also in the other halls this morning, is already a good signal that business is happening despite the constraint, despite the war which we have in Ukraine. And I think that is a positive signal. Thank you.
Thank you, Merkel, very much for the support. And dear colleagues, any insights?
I mean, I think Roman said it perfectly. This is also, I think, serves as a reminder to us that this is an ongoing situation. We need to keep the pressure up and keep the enthusiasm up for supporting Ukraine. And going forward, and what I was here last year as well, and what I'm hearing now is also thinking having two thoughts in the head at the same time. What's the immediate need right now? But I also hear in conversations with you, Roman, and others, thinking about what's in 2, 3, and 4 years ahead. And I think that's very optimistic, because at some point this war will end, and then we need to start to do the reconstruction phase as well.
Well, make no mistake, this war started about territory. Now it's a war on energy. So this is the battlefield. And I believe that the importance of the workers, we mentioned them, fixing those plants or transformers, replacing parts, etc., is as important as the people holding the guns in the front line. And we should make no mistake that what is happening here with the businesses is part of this effort, it's part of the war. So allowing those connections to happen, those deals to be signed, and more importantly, to be implemented, is really what is going to provide Ukraine with the resilience and the ability to withstand the pressure and to ensure that the peace comes closer by forcing the other side to come to the table and discuss and hopefully come to an agreement that will stop the war, and then, of course, the full business of reconstruction can start. So this effort is hugely important and has to be supported by all of us so that the businesses can be supported to do what they do best, which is to implement those projects.
Title of our panel discussion is a transformation. So I believe that the transformation, especially of an energy system, is happening here in the hall. Like in last years, I was attending this event, and most of the talks were about the recovery, restoration. But right now, I believe more and more people and businesses are talking about the transformations, about the best available technologies to install in Ukraine after the war, and the data-driven solutions. So I believe that the people talking right now here in the hall are thinking how to transform Ukraine to a next future.
Looking at the room, I see that the technology is available, right? They are the providers of technology. Money is available to invest. The issue might be the risk which is related to the war and to the regulatory aspects of Ukraine. What I believe strongly that Ukraine, following the accelerated integration with the European Union, can at least lower the transactional cost for investors by de-risking, by providing the proper sound governance and regulatory framework. And I think that this message is I wanted to share with potential investors and that they can understand this message properly.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, we've just finalized the first part of this panel. Today we have just approached a little bit complicated than the previous years. This is our dynamic in development. And my gratitude, great appreciation for the distinguished speakers of this panel with the sharing their strategic vision for further steps and recommendations, for discussing perspectives and opportunities. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. It doesn't mean that you have a break now, relaxing. The next panel will be devoted to more support and more discussion with our moderator of Tomek Achmalovsky from Deloitte. So thank you very much. Let's continue to work together. And light will prevail, certainly.